Basically, the point of role play is, you want to practice with colleagues instead of practicing on your clients, because practicing on your
Definitely.
clients could to lose a potential relationship or deal. So, yeah. So basically, we try to practice like last week we did we did the calendar. Sorry, we did the insights report because Chirag went over that and how to articulate like what's on Compass's insights report to the sellers, being that we're in a shifting market.
Mm-hmm.
So today we don't have a agenda for today, so we could practice anything whether it's a buyer or seller and scenario you would like to go over.
Okay, well, why don't you lead me to the seller in a shifting market? How do you adjust prices and how do you adjust expectation?
Okay, that's a great question. So before we go into the role play, and I could be the agent, you could be the seller, but prior to having this conversation, what we typically do as a team is we send over an active comp report, which we call our collection, right? Which shows what's going on in the market. Besides that, we send a weekly traffic report, which gives them the traffic of online, gives them feedback of who's come to see the home and what the feedback was. And we give them a snapshot using the Market Watch tool on Compass to show them what's the activity in the neighborhood. So they have an overview of, how many listings went into contract or how many are active, how many went off the market and things like that. So before this call, the seller would have all that information. So is there a specific price point that you're thinking about, or we could just do like a random?
Well, let's say $2 million.
Okay. Okay. And for your market, what's the average days on market for $2 million thing right now?
Right now, I think it's about 45 days or more.
Okay. And how's that increase compared to last year?
Well, it has, last year, the home would sell in maybe a week.
Okay. So we went from 7 to 45 days. Okay. All right. So we could do that. One question I had before we start. What's the average negotiability for those $2 million listings? Are they still going at ask, or are they still going above ask, or they're now selling for a discount?
I think that it's selling for a little bit less. I actually have not been looking at the market for the last 4 to 6 weeks because of course I have not been in a good mood. So I've been selling home that are a bit less expensive and working.
Hey Josh, can you Sorry about that. I was just asking my team member to turn on the light because it's a little bit dark. Okay, so yeah, typically leave the lights off in my office because I actually get the fluorescent light actually gives me a headache. So all right, so great. So you'll be the seller, I'll be the agent. All right. So we basically will do like a phone call, right? So ring, ring, ring. Hi, Mai. This is Justin Martinez from Compass. How you doing today?
Just okay.
Just okay. All right. So thank you for your time as always. I wanted to just go over basically we've been listed for a couple of weeks now, and I just wanted to give you, just an update on the market. We sent you the traffic report yesterday. Did you have a chance to review it?
No, I just skimmed through it.
Okay. Did you have any specific questions regarding the traffic report or what we sent over?
I noticed that you have not shown my home, very often the last 10 days.
Yeah, so that's a great observation. Yeah, it's the market has obviously shifted, and compared to this time last year. Basically what we're noticing last year, properties would be listed for 7 days and they would go into contract. And now properties are listing for 45 days or more. And before they go into contract, that's the average days on market. We've been on the market for 2 weeks. 45 days is still, even though it's a lot higher, it's still a decent number historically, but it's definitely the market has shifted.
My friend is saying that market has have cycles. How long do you think that this cycle will last? Is it temporary, or is it, going to be like long term?
That's a great question. One thing the COVID world has taught me, I think, and you could potentially agree with this, is that in February 2020, I don't think you would have thought the whole world would have shut down for 12 months. So basically, we can't predict what's going to happen, a year from now, 6 months from now. We could have speculation, but we can't give an exact prediction. But there's speculation that interest rates are going to continue to go up, so that would definitely have effect on this price point.
Yeah, I bought this home in 2007, and I had to endure, a market decrease in value for about 8 years. Do you think that it's going to last long this time?
Again, I mean, I can't predict the future. I can tell you if what's going to happen a year from now. That's my whole point about the whole COVID world. There's so many variables that that has happened. I think that has taught us that you can never predict what's going to happen in the future. But again, based on the market experts in terms of mortgage brokers and the news we're getting, there's speculation that interest rates are going to continue to go higher. So if that continues to happen, then a person that would be getting financing, obviously their monthly payment will go up, so that would potentially affect property values, or properties will stay on the market a little bit longer. Does that make sense?
Okay, my interest rate is only 3%, and I noticed that the interest rate are going up about 7% right now, so it's making my home a little bit more less affordable. What about renting it for a while? Leasing it?
I mean, renting is also always an option we could look at. Would it be helpful if I sent you some rental comps?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll send you rental comps later today. That way you can see what the market's renting for. However, I mean, based on what we're seeing, we still feel that, based on the market data, that we could still sell the home and get some type of offers within the 45-day period. So it's not like homes aren't selling in the neighborhood. They're just taking a little bit longer to sell.
Okay, well, Thanksgiving is in 5 weeks. Perhaps I don't want to have my home, people slept into my home during the holidays.
Yeah, understood. So I mean, would it be? Let's see how about we just see how the next few weeks go, and then decide to make a decision before Thanksgiving. Does that work for you, or?
You are suggesting that I take my home off the market for 2 weeks?
No, sorry, I didn't say that. I said, how about we see how it goes for the next few weeks before the holidays, and then make a decision then.
Yeah, very well. What has Compass done to promote my home?
So if you look at the insights report, we have it listed on the properties like Compass, MLS, and those type of markets, but we also have done digital ad campaigns like on Instagram, Facebook. So you have all of those metrics on the insights report, and we also have reached out to the broker community using our network too, which we send out this listing to all brokers that have sold or have properties on the market in the last 2 years. Okay,
well, I have my doubts about Instagram and Facebook because how many of these people surfing Instagram would have the budget for this type of home?
I mean, that's a great question. But with that said, everything's online these days. So people see the home. For us, the more people see the home, the better, and the higher likelihood we get that one buyer that wants to purchase the home, because all we need is the one buyer.
Yeah. Okay. A friend of mine told me about this interest rate buy down. What is it about?
So that's a great question. So some in this market, some sellers have been offering like a closing credit to buy down the interest rate for the buyer. So typically when you buy down the interest rate, it's basically 10% of the loan amount. So just say if someone put down 20% on your home, the loan amount would be 1.4 million. So to buy down the interest rate like a quarter point, it would take like $14,000. And that would give the buyer savings as if they save $50,000 on your home.
Okay. All right.
So in the long, so essentially you would save money.
Okay. Well, then I will give you like a 2 weeks reprieve. Well, reconvene in 2 weeks and, go from there. Thank you so much.
All right.
Somebody
Sounds good.
else
Well,
can,
thanks for your time.
yeah. Now somebody else can, role play with you. Thank you so much. Next time I'll prepare. Thank you, Justin.
Okay.
Great.
So how do you think what do you think about that, Maya? Did that make sense or?
Yeah. Could have elaborate a little bit on, the interest buy down, how long it's going to be for the buyer and what kind of benefit. But,
Oh, sorry. I guess you didn't catch that. So basically with the interest rate buy down, I'm sorry, like I'm having lighting issues. Basically, so when you buy down the interest rate, so I set this. So basically to buy down the interest rate a quarter point, it's basically 10% of the loan amount.
okay.
Yeah. So every quarter point you buy, it costs 10% of the loan amount. So if
Yes.
the loan amount is 1.4, sorry, not 10%, 1%. If the loan amount is 1.4 million on a $2 million property, because they're putting 20% down, then it would be $14,000.
Okay, so it will cost me $14,000 to know.
Correct. It'll be 1% on the loan amount. Correct.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me take that under submission.
So I would talk to a bank. Obviously, like if the loan amounts are different, like if the loan amount is 2 million or the loan amount is less than a million, but basically the numbers I did with the bank was around this loan amount, and that's what they explained to me.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Hey Wayne, how you doing?
Thanks.
I'm fine. Sorry, I'm late. Looked like I
No.
walked into a room talking about some good stuff about the buy downs.
Yeah, Maya had a good question, so that was awesome. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you.
Wayne, would you like to go over a specific scenario or today?
No, I really don't have anything. I thought maybe I would just be a fly on the wall and hear what other people have to say, but
Okay. How about you, Jennifer?
Can you hear me?
1 second. Sorry, Jennifer's on my team and we're sitting in the same room, so she's going to the next room because the feedback will be too much.
You got some operation there, Justin.
Yeah.
Are you going to Atlanta?
Yeah, I get in Monday.
Oh, I get to meet you face to face.
Yeah. Actually, when you came to my party in Soho for Chirag's event.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
For Chirag's event, like in September last year, I think we definitely met. I remember you.
That was at the headquarters.
No, I did a big party in Soho where a bunch of people came out.
Oh,
I think we even have a
yeah.
picture together.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Okay,
cool.
I'm ready.
All right, Jennifer, what would you like to go over?
I want to be a buyer this time.
Okay. So what specific scenario would you like to go over?
So I'm still looking, but I just feel like the interest rates are so high. I cannot afford something I wanted before, but I still interested. Maybe there's some good opportunities out there.
Okay, so so it sounds like you want to go over like a buyer asking if there's opportunities out there. I'm sorry, I'm just not clear on what you want to go over.
So maybe I can play, you can be calling me, I'm your past buyer, and you can ask me where am I right now, and Am I still looking?
Okay, so you want me to call you? I'm the agent, you're the buyer, and you want me to, it's basically like a follow-up call for a buyer that you
Yeah.
touched base with maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay, sounds good. Ring, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. This is Justin Martinez with Compass. How you doing today?
Good. Hi, nice to hear from you. Thank you for calling. What's up?
Yeah, my pleasure. Do you have a couple of minutes to chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch base with you. I know we were looking earlier this year at a very different real estate market, and I just wanted to circle back with you since we haven't spoken in some time and see you know, how are things coming along and where you guys are at. What's your search?
It's so interesting that you called because my lease actually ends end of February, and I think they're gonna increase my rent. And I
Okay.
really don't know what to do. I feel like I wanna purchase, but
hmm
I just can't afford when I do the calculation with the numbers for the new interest rate.
Understood. You know, and I'm working with you know, some other buyers, and you know, and noticing obviously the interest rates. You know, it's no secret they've gone up much higher than early this year. So the question to you, like, what monthly payment do you want to stay around?
4,500.
Okay, and so and you're still looking at this for like the same type of unit, like one bedroom.
Yeah, and I did the calculation. It's about 55 now.
Okay. Then another question I have for you, does that 4,500, is that inclusive of like the monthly maintenance, or are you just looking at like your
Everything.
mortgage payment, everything? Okay. All right. I mean, how about I send you some options that would be around that number, and you know, maybe like, and then you let me know your thoughts of those options.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Do you think I should wait for a year because I heard the price will drop 10% next year?
You know, that's a great question. I mean, you know, I say this to all of my clients. I think one, you know, the one thing about the COVID world is, you know, in February 2020, if we were sitting at the bar, and someone told us that the world was shut down in a month, I think we would have said, you know, you're crazy. So to answer your question, I don't know exactly what's going to happen in a year from now. Can prices continue to go down as interest rates go up? Sure, that's definitely a possibility, but I can't, you know, I definitely don't know what's exactly going to happen. Like what we're seeing in Manhattan in general is that the supply is still very low. There's not a huge amount of supply. There's actually only 9 months of supply. So, and before COVID, Manhattan had about over 2 years of supply. So we don't know will prices go down 10%. Typically, when the market is not active in Manhattan, sellers pull their apartments off the market and just rent them out. So that would also keep supply down. My main thing, you know, my suggestion would be to look at what's in that monthly payment, that comfortable monthly payment for you. In Manhattan or in the locations you're interested in, you could still negotiate, and we could always potentially ask the seller to, instead of, you know, to give us a closing credit, to buy down your interest rate, which will lower your monthly payment. How does that sound?
That sounds like a good option. Just curious, your buyers, is that what you advise your most buyers? Still looking?
Yeah,
Has most of them given up?
I mean, everything's a case by case scenario. Everyone has different goals. Every buyer has different goals. So it all depends on the, you know, what's important to each client.
Okay.
So like for you, I know you said your lease ends in February. If you didn't find a property, you know, before January, what would be your plan B?
I haven't thought about it. Maybe
Okay.
renew my lease.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so you know, let me send you some options, then let me know what you think of the options, and you know, and let me know if you're interested in viewing them. But I think there's definitely, you know, I can't guarantee we'll get you to 4,500, but I think we could get within striking distance or around the number, if not that number.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, my pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, that's good. At least I have some options with the interest, and it's a good idea of doing the monthly payment. That's important.
I mean, every buyer buys at the monthly payment. No one buys at like the purchase price. And with New Yorkers, New Yorkers typically only live in their property for like 3 years. So
Yeah. In that case, what's the bank again that offer this kind of program buy down rates? Do
I mean,
do all of them offer?
every bank offers that.
Okay.
It's really just having them speak to the right mortgage professional and having them get the best product for,
So is it just the seller has to buy the credit, or the buyer can buy credit too?
the buyer can do the same thing, but if you have like, for example, in New York City, you typically have a negotiability of 3 to 5%. So I always ask buyers like, is it important for you to get the best purchase price? Is it important for you to maybe save a little money on the upfront costs? Is it
Yeah, or
important to you
monthly.
like, or yeah, so if it's some people just want the best purchase price, but what they don't understand is that you're not actually saving unless you're buying cash. You're not really saving on the purchase price. So sometimes it's better to pay a little bit more and get upfront costs. In this case, if they get some upfront
Mhm.
savings, like a closing credit, they could pass that along to their to buying down their rate.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Justin, I like how you asked Jennifer, like, what is her plan B? You kind of put it right back into her lap. And I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty amazing because you didn't have to come up with a solution. You kind of forced Jennifer to come up with her own solution as to
Yeah.
what she wants to do.
Yeah, it's all the med seed that Chirag teaches. It's just
I
it's
know.
always just asking the client and like not telling the client what to do, just asking them and and yeah.
So how
If
are
they're-
you guys? So here's what I'm running into, comps. And
yeah.
I think I made a mistake the other day because I went back 6 months with my comps.
Yeah.
And so it was giving pricing where the interest rates were like at 4%, these
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah.
So how far back, anyone can answer this question, because how far back are you guys going? Some people are going back 90 days. One woman said she only goes back 2 months when looking
Yeah.
for comps.
Yeah, with the shifting interest rates. So like if you're in a price point where the buyers are definitely buying with financing, I would definitely look at like no more than like 30 to 45 days.
Oh, wow.
But then
Okay.
if you go back 6 months, then you gotta, do the whole spreadsheet. Okay, like the monthly payment was here at 4%, now it's here. So then you gotta factor that in. We actually had to do that with one of our co-op listings. Because we like this co-op listing was on the market with a tenant and we couldn't get access and we had a ton of interest. Then fast forward to today, it's still in the market. It's a beautiful apartment. The comp says it's a good price, but it's like, all right, the monthly payments are so much more, like $1,000 more or $1,500 more. So we got to factor that in. So that 1.2 listing just went down to like 1.1 or like 1.05 or something like that. So
Okay.
if you do look at 6 months, I would look at what the interest rate was, not even 6 months ago, because if it closed 6 months ago, that means it really was 9 months ago, right? Or like 8 months ago. So look at what the interest rate was at that time and then compare it to today and then factor in those numbers. So if the monthly payment went up 10%, then factor that into today's purchase price or
Okay.
listing price. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the formula. Does that make
Thank
sense?
you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wow. Okay.
So I also I was on a meeting yesterday. They were talking about price to the future, 3 months from now. What do you think about that?
I'm not a fortune teller. That's what I think about that. You just gotta gauge. You gotta gauge the current interest. In 3 months, see what the rates are and stuff like that. and look at what's, because with this market, it's kind of similar to like when we were in shutdown, right? With New York City, like every week the market changed. So you got to look at like the current data. So you got to be on top of like the weekly numbers and like what happened, a month ago, and be up to date on the numbers. But in terms of like, I mean, interest rates are going to go up. That's the speculation. It's every banker I've spoken to, like a mortgage broker who does commercial real estate for like big funds, like $1 billion funds. And he told me in June that the interest rates are going to go up to 8% within 12 months. So that, and everything he said has come true. So he knows more. He's on that space. He has bigger friends that he has friends in high places. So you just gotta at the end of the day, people still have to move. Rents are still increasing. So the less affordable it becomes for buyers, like the average buyer, they're gonna rent, and the rent, if more people rent, the rents are just gonna go up. So people if your buyers can buy, have the liquid to buy, I will always suggest buying. So. All right. Well, does anyone want to go over anything else, or we're good today?
Well, I like preparation. So why don't you give us homework, and I am going to, study or make a script for next week.
Okay, what would you?
Yeah, I always attend like Zoom meeting, but I wasn't, aware of yours until like recently, and today's my first time, so.
So what would you like to prepare for? What scenario would you like to prepare for?
What do you suggest?
I mean, it all depends. Like, do you work with sellers? Do you work with buyers? It all depends, like where where you need practice in your business.
Yeah, there are some outlandish buyers that told me that, okay, they're going to wait because the market is going to drop 25% next year. And I say, well, I have lived in LA for more than 40 years, and it's represent the American dreams for, many people. So there's always people moving in.
People had I always tell people like that, if you had a crystal ball, why you just didn't buy during COVID, like in April 2020? Like, because like if you knew exactly what's gonna happen, you'd be a trillionaire. Like, no one knows exactly what's gonna happen. Like, it's like I say things like that to people because it just makes them. It doesn't sound like it doesn't make sense. Like, so I would tell people that, like, if so, why didn't buy April 2020?
Yeah.
Well, Justin, you're going to be in Atlanta next Thursday, right?
Yeah. So next Thursday I can't do.
Yeah.
But we practice today the sellers. So if you want to prepare, I could send you the insights report, and I could also send you our calendar that we worked with Chirag on. It's also on his website, and we could prepare to go over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about
give you my email address?
No, how about this? I'll type in my email address here, and then we'll email you back later today.
Yeah.
And Justin, just so you know, the last class you taught about insights, oh my God, that was so powerful. I sent my seller that, he gobbled that up.
See, there we go.
He's such a data-driven person, and he was like, wow, you're working your butt off, huh?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Over communication is so important in this market. So
I think it was great. Thank you. See, keep those nuggets coming, man.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm here for. So I won't be here next Thursday because we will be in Atlanta, but the week after.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. So are you going to Atlanta?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Too much.
So I'll see you in 2 weeks. So I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, have a great week. Take care. Goodbye.
You too. Bye.